Today's video is again an old topic we've covered, but in a little bit more detail, a little bit more thought process, and it's something that we pride ourselves on at Raw Selection, but you're always focused on it, and it's doing the simple things brilliantly. I believe it brings an extra edge, I believe it brings the differentiation that a lot of recruitment firms are looking for, and I believe it's a key element of why we see top billers performing and thriving in difficult environments where, let's say, the rest of the firm isn't doing as well, and it's not just off one account. They're consistently winning new business, they're consistently supporting the team and developing them through a leadership role, and it's doing the simple things brilliantly. Right, we're going to highlight an old topic that we've covered previously, which is the simple things brilliantly again. So I want you to think about every press call that you do, how do you make it brilliant? I want you to think of every BD call that you do, how do you make it brilliant? When you think of even the emails that you send, how do you make it brilliant? There was an email sent yesterday where a client had messaged and said, we have this, and this going on, and we're about to do a roll-up. And we'd like to talk to you about it. We need to recognise that it's a bit like when you do a placement, an interview going through to a final interview and you're at offer stage, that's where they are at when they get to letter of intent stage, LOI stage referred to as. Okay? We've got to recognise that and enjoy that with them. Because imagine if when you got to that stage, the client rang you up and said, do you know what, Naya, done an amazing job. Really appreciate it. These guys are great. Got 4 at shortlist. Really pleased with it. Mo, you sent us across 4 fantastic candidates. Really pleased with that. It motivates you that little bit more. It builds a little bit of a rapport. It builds a little bit of, do you know, I'm doing a good job. So when you recognise that your clients as individuals have done something great, they've raised a new fund. Don't skim over that. That's a big deal for them. That's like having your best year billing ever in recruitment when they raise a new fund. They do it once every 4 or 5 years maybe. And they're not raising, oh yeah, what did we do? Yeah, we raised a £5 and I got £5 off my mate down the road. You know, raised 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion. That is a huge amount of money. If they've got a deal that they're at close for, congratulate them. Recognise, do the simple things brilliant. If you see an opportunity, build a relationship. Get into extra dialogue. I saw that email and I emailed the client and said, firstly, congratulations on the potential roll-up and putting together an investment thesis. I know personally how difficult and how competitive things are at the moment. So if you've got an opportunity to not only acquire one business, but probably to acquire 3, 4, 5, congratulations. And then I got into exactly what I wanted to discuss. So listen to your client, listen to your prospects, listen to your candidates, because that's what will turn your relationships into searches. You've always got to be thinking, how do I leverage this? How do I give them recognition? How do I keep in rapport with them? Well, skimming over when they give you information on something important is not that way. Yes, we are transactional because I am transactional. Yes, I am not the best at building relationships with clients, and for me it's going, I get the job done. You know, Cosmos has got a very good example of that ability to build rapport and build good connections. There's no coincidence that the most amount of podcast guests came from Cosmos, and you know, certain individuals had to ask hundreds of people, maybe 50 people, maybe 20 people. I think Cosmos ran 10 and got 9, right? So that's because of the relationship he's built and how he recognises when they share something with him, etc., etc. Take an interest in other people. It's not just about you. And I'm saying this, and I'm also coaching myself because that's me. Someone tells me something great, and I'm like, fucking brilliant, let's move on. Let's get down to business, John. I'm not interested in what you cat did. I'm not interested in the fact that you've raised a fund. I don't give a that, you know, this and this has happened. What's the reason for the vacancy? Just had somebody leave. Oh, hell, what's the reason for the vacancy? Just had somebody leave the business. Okay. And is this causing you paying our problems? Leave the business. Right? When somebody hands their notice in, which is obviously what's happened there, you'd suggest, that's quite emotional. You know, if you haven't been in a breakup relationship with your partner, it's like that. But you feel like the manager feels like they've failed. The manager feels like they're not as successful as they should have been because they're in a position and that person's left. That person has turned them down. That person has said no to them. So let's have some empathy with it as well as congratulations. Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. Is that a good leave or a bad leave? Well, we're not too happy about it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's annoying when top performers leave. And sure, you guys will give some reflection on it, but it is what it is. Let's get this problem solved for you. Doing the simple things brilliantly. Just following the script, just following the transactional process will not get you to where you want to be. It will not build you strong relationships. It will not get you a testimonial from a client. It will not get you a testimonial from a candidate. It will not get you a thank you message at the end of the process when the client recruiter or whoever's managing the search or whatever finishes the process off and then you never speak to them again. Right? For those that have done deals in here and have placed candidates, right? Have we messaged the candidates say congratulations when the deal went through? Or have you just left either me, Jack, or whoever else was managing the process to do it? You got to think, how do you build long-term relationships? How do you do the simple things brilliantly? When we jump on to present that job to that candidate, hi John, yeah, it's Alex Rawlings from Raw Selection. So I've reached out to you via LinkedIn and I've got an opportunity working for it. Where's the energy? Where's the communication? Where's the engagement? Following the script, and then one person's, John, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you message back over LinkedIn. What an absolutely fantastic opportunity I wanted to run past you. I know we haven't spoken previously. Would it help you if I gave you a little bit of insight into Raw Selection and what we and I do here? The difference in tonality picks that person up. The difference in tonality makes you sound good at your job. Hi John, it's Alex calling from Raw Selection. Just wanted to reach out with regards to a job I'm working on at the moment. You can give me a call back please on +44 7860 803 John, Alex calling from Raw Selection. We message each other over LinkedIn. Wanted to run an opportunity past you. If you can give me a call back as soon as you possibly can, it's +44 and on we go. Same message, different message. Different level of callback, different level of urgency, different representation of you. We can do the job, but can we do it brilliantly? Can we do the simple things to a high enough standard? Those are the bits that make the difference. Those are the bits that take your BD calls down from every 10 calls you make to getting a vacancy to every 5 calls, because you can leverage the opportunity, because people will openly share information with you, people will want to help you. When was the last time somebody threw a challenge at you and you asked, you came to me and said, have we got anything on this? Do we know anybody that could help with this? We've got a client who's raising capital and they're struggling. We've got a podcast on it. We've got a client who's struggling with deal origination. I'm about to do a podcast tonight on it. We've actually got a podcast as well on it. We've got a client who's struggling with investor relations. We've got a podcast on it. We've got a candidate who's a chief executive who wants to get into private equity. We've got a podcast on it. We've got a chief exec candidate who works in industrial manufacturing business. We've got tons of podcasts on of stuff we can share. Someone's going to go after them, but think about how you can help these people. They might not want it, they might not want the information, fine, but just ask. Look, do you want me to share? We've got some really cool stuff on investor relations that have come not from us, but from the industry experts. I can send you a podcast on it. It makes it sound like I'm just pushing the podcast. I'm not. I'm pushing your expertise and your knowledge. Because if you share that information sounds like, looks like, and is coming from you. But you've got to go extra in order to get there. You've got to listen to your prospects. You've got to listen to your clients. And you've got to listen to your candidates to get that information, to go extra. If all you're fixating on is getting one vacancy on the board, you're not listening. If all you're fixating on is getting that CV sent to the client, you're not listening. That's what's going to happen regardless. You need to listen. You've got the skill set, you've got the training, you've got the development, where you can achieve a vacancy, you can achieve a CV send, you can achieve a send out. But if we don't listen, we don't get the extra bits and pieces. And that's where we stay in rapport, and that's where we get the opportunity to win business. That's where you get the opportunity to get that candidate from a maybe to a yes. We need to listen to everything that's been shared.